They're going to win, by the way, Chris.
Hello. Okay, now we're live. SamMeeBee here. We're doing it early, Saturday, October 26th. Week 8 has already started with a Thursday night game. We're going to talk about that briefly in a moment. Before I introduce my guest, I want to say congrats to Sean McVay, now the winningest head coach.
Yeah.
Doing it on his son's first birthday.
Very cool.
Congrats, Mac and I, for taking the Rams. But Dan, I gotta call you out. You didn't take the Rams, you picked the Vikings. What's going on?
I bet with my head, not as my heart, so to speak, but they won the game, and I couldn't be happier. I'm glad to be 0-1 on the predictions this week so far.
I can't believe you showed up late. I didn't hear you show up today. You didn't want to show your face, but this is our first 4-person stream. We got Mac returning. What's going on, Mac?
What's up, guys?
Yeah, we got a big Sunday night matchup we'll get to this week. He's a Niners fan. You got hosting the Cowboys. And we had last week Andrew also returning. What's going on, Andrew?
What's up? Morning.
You guys got a big game. I know you guys played the Chiefs. Your last team to beat the Chiefs and the Ravens. So you guys got that to hold on to. So.
Just beat all the best teams. The loss to the Panthers.
That's what it is. Actually, last week we didn't do too bad. Dan, myself, and DJ, Mac's son, all went 10-4 with our Sunday through Monday picks. And Andrew and Mac right behind us at 9-5. So last week we did pretty good. So
So DJ recovered because he had a rough week before.
Yeah.
Good for him.
He did.
And I think the beginning of the season, the first few weeks, the underdogs were winning a lot. And I think now the favorites are winning. And that's kind of why our records are getting better. So without further ado, we'll hop right into the first matchup. We got Baltimore going into Cleveland. Baltimore, these are current as of last night. Favored by 8.5. Danny Stone. Why don't you start with this one?
I like Jameis Winston as far as I think it's a good move for them. Deshaun Watson looks terrible. I'll go with the Ravens here. I started late, so I'll go with the Ravens. Pretty straightforward. And actually, before I pass it, I will say last week I said Baker Mayfield should be a good passer, and I think Andrew, you were kind of trying to point out Lamar can pass too. Yeah, he looks lights out. He looks like I don't know if it's because of Derrick Henry, but it looks really legit this year with Lamar. He can do everything. I don't know if they can beat Patrick Mahomes, but that's no knock on Baltimore. That's just Baltimore over Cleveland, easy.
I like it. What about you, Andrew? Let you go next.
I mean, I can't get too creative or too cute, so I'm gonna stick with the Ravens in this one. I love a team that can run the ball. That time of possession is a key factor. That the strategy it matters a lot. That offensive backfield's on fire. I'll say I think Derrick Henry makes a huge difference in this team. That ability to run the ball, and when he's breaking runs like that, still, and you shouldn't be breaking runs like that if teams are letting you walk. I mean, the guy was the king for a reason, and the Browns, on the other hand, my other half family are huge Browns fans, and I already made a couple of derogatory jokes about what happens when they win a Super Bowl. But that team seems to be reeling, right? You get rid of Cooper. I mean, you rupture an Achilles. I like Jameis Winston too, but I mean, with Cooper was still on the team, okay, you can elevate their game and they could really help Cooper. But without that kind of downfield threat, I mean, Elijah Moore, David Njoku,
Jerry Jeudy.
We'll have to see. Jerry Jeudy. But Donovan Peoples-Jones, I don't think he's still on the team, is he? It's been a while.
No, I think he was a Lion last year.
Yeah, I think he's Lion. Yeah, but I mean, that receiving core, it's tough to remember who's on there now if you start trading away your star players. As a Raiders fan, I'll let you know.
You guys last week to beat the Ravens. What about you, Mac? You taking the Ravens as well?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Ravens. I agree. Jameis he's gonna come in there, throw the ball around. And if it wasn't the Ravens this week, I could see the Browns putting up some points. But and I don't think that the Browns are gonna cover that spread either. I think I learned last week not to pick against the Ravens against the lesser team. So give me the Ravens. Easy pick for me.
Yeah, I'm taking Baltimore as well. Like you said, it is a large spread, but I was looking it up. Cleveland's head coach, he's actually the worst head coach since 1990 against the spread in their own division.
Kevin Stefanski?
Yeah,
really?
17. So in his own division, he can't win.
His own division, yeah.
He's a 2-time coach of the year. That's crazy. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's you who has to play in that division, yeah.
Yeah, it's a strong division, so that's easy. And I do think
Baltimore's
better.
North is tough.
Last week, if you viewed our video, we had MGM available. So if you want to look at any of the odds or the numbers, let me know, guys. I'll bring it up. But I'm thinking Baltimore covers as well in this one.
Yeah.
And then the next game we got nice and interesting one. We got Tennessee going into Detroit. We'll go down next. Andrew, who are you taking for this one?
I think I went with the Lions last week, but I like the Lions in this one. I mean, that Lions team is white hot. I mean, I like coaching a lot, and I think that when you give a coach some time, it seems like really good ones are able to build quality programs. And it sounds like I'm talking about college, but when you get enough guys in there that buy into the system and they're slinging all over. We were talking about Jared Goff earlier. That level of accuracy, I think, is something that people are like, wow, is that a real stat? Like the way that he's been able to be that accurate. It's kind of insane, and it makes any team kind of run efficiently, but especially when a guy got like St. Brown up there. So I think they're really fun to watch, and I got the Lions in this one.
Yep. What about you, Mac?
Yeah, I like the Lions too. I agree with the coaching. I love Campbell. He's a great coach. Hutchinson's loss. That's gonna be a rough one for them to not have that pass rushing. But I mean, I don't even know what the Titans are doing over there in Tennessee, and the Lions just. I mean, last week's performance against the Vikings showed it. They're a top-notch NFC team. This one again, winning easily. I think they also cover that spread.
Yeah. And Detroit's definitely a bully this year. And actually, since 2018, Goff is the best quarterback against the spread at home. He covers 63% of the time. So I'm not going to touch it because it's such a large spread because Mason Rudolph has good stats against the spread. But I'm taking the Detroit to win. And the reason why I picked the Rams because the Vikings continue the streak. We play the Lions, you'll lose the next week. So next week, I already got money on New England next week beating Tennessee because Tennessee's going to have a hangover from playing Detroit this week. And what Andrew was saying, I wanted to highlight with Goff being accurate. I think didn't he have more touchdowns than incompletions last week?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, wow.
We're like, that can't be true. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Danny, someone who's still waking up.
Jaden Daniels had one of those stats too, where they had more completions than drives that stalled or something something ridiculous. Regardless, no, I'm going to take the Lions. It's not that hard. I'm going to go back to Gilly's point. Jared Goff's really good. Even when the Rams traded him, and I'm a Rams fan, I resented this notion that Sean McVay made Jared Goff. I didn't love that. Like, I understand the concept, but like Jared Goff helped the Rams so much. Like, they didn't have a quarterback for like a decade, and then Jared Goff was like, I'm here, guys. He was awesome. He's great. Go Lions. I said last week if they beat the Vikings, they're the top team in the NFC, and I think they are. Which can change.
I'll say this. I mean, people can say like, oh, coaching has this much of an impact. Thursday night game shows like with the right players and right coaching, suddenly a team looks wildly different. Like you're like, oh, okay, Puka Nacua coming back, Cooper Kupp. And then suddenly everybody's contributing and like, wow, okay, this system is working more. And you can see like strings that control the system, more like the strategy instead of just the tactics.
This is easy to say, and this isn't totally to your point. This is easy to say because the Rams won. While I was watching that game, I'm like, even if the Rams lose, this team is so much more fun to watch. I was like, Rams fans need to be like, wow, even if they lose, like this is live. Like these guys are going. Who knew? Get your top two wide receivers back. Who knew?
Yeah, once I saw Puka and Cooper playing, I was like, oh, this could be a different offense. I mean,
I wasn't even worried about a pitch count. I'm like, I'm starting them both in any fantasy league. I have them. Yeah. I don't care. Like they're both going. Yeah, it was awesome.
Wish I did. Puka's still my IR slot, and I'm trying to make a trade, but I can't because he's still an IR slot, and you have to. It's like. It says you
have to activate him first or something.
Yeah.
You can't activate him.
Right.
So,
interesting. He was
my league, I was able to play him like 5 minutes before I knew he was playing, and he was only slotted for like 9.5 points. I was like, oh, come on. He's going to get that in the first quarter.
He did.
And yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He wound up right there. And the Rams were, you could tell the first play Stafford's throwing to him. I don't think he reels it in, but and then the third play, I think they throw it again to him. I'm like, yeah, they're gonna throw a lot his way tonight. So and they did.
I'll throw this out there too, not to belabor it, but I will. Fantasy football, Gillies and I are in a league together. I started Puka in that league. Buddy of ours, he starts DeMarcus Robinson. Genius.
Ooh.
Genius. Oh yeah.
2 tutties. He looked great. Matthew Stafford with 8 receivers. Holy smokes. Different quarterback. Best game of the year. It's not even close.
Well, we have another NFC West in our next matchup. Kind of surprised they're underdogs. Arizona's going to Miami. We'll keep going around the horn here. Mac, I'll let you start here. Who you taking, Arizona or Miami?
I like this matchup. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Tua's back. He's playing this game. That might be why Dolphins are favored.
Yeah, they
and
are.
so I'm going to go with the Dolphins there at home. Tua is probably super excited to come back, and I think he does make a difference. I don't think he's the greatest quarterback as everyone, built him up to be. He's good though, and he's better than what they had at backup. And I think he spreads the ball around. Cardinals are just so. They're one day they're blowing out the good Rams team, healthy Rams team, and then they're dropping a easy one. So it's like you don't know which Cardinals team's going to show up. I'm going to take the Dolphins. I can see the Cardinals covering that spread and probably even winning, but I'm going to stick with the Dolphins.
Yeah, I like that. I'll go next. I saw a stat that Arizona hasn't won back-to-back games since 2021.
That's an awful stat.
Kind of weird.
Yeah.
And I think it's not just the return of Tua. The whole team's feeling good. Like, you see Tyreek? He says, strike out the fucking band. Sorry.
Yep.
So I'm taking Miami as well. Dan and I talked about it's like interest in a money pool that we do. And I have the Dolphins. Every win they get earns me a point, and no one ahead of me or tied with me has the Dolphins. So I need the Dolphins to win. What about you, Dan? Who you feel, Miami?
Yeah, you should be in good shape. So far so good. As I feel like Darth Vader, all too easy with these picks. This is an easy one, Dolphins. I'm excited for when we talk Falcons Bucks. Not to give it away, but that should be a controversial one. This game, I think we're all picking Dolphins. Tua coming back, it's pretty easy. Respectfully to the Cardinals, who crushed the Rams.
You're right. So far, we agreed on the Sunday night games. Thursday night, you didn't take the Rams. So.
I did not. I took the Vikings. Hey, I stand by that. I don't think the Vikings are bad. Let's go Nation.
They're really good.
Losses. That's a good team. They just lost a game.
All right, then we'll finish with Andrew. Are you confirming what Dan said?
This ain't the lone wolf pick of the week. I think I already know. Not to tease. I'm going to tease a little bit too. I think I have a lone wolf pick coming up, but this ain't it. I think Dolphins are going to have this one. I like the Cardinals, but they are wildly unpredictable, right? Like I like Kyler Murray. I've seen him tear up the Raiders, but
Call of Duty's out now.
Oh
Yeah.
So and then I like Tua a lot. Tua is like an X factor in that. I like Skylar Thompson's name, but I don't know. The play doesn't really match how good Tua is.
I like people saying Tua should wear a Guardian cap. I get it, but I don't know.
I don't know if it just feels funny, like the wind rushing past your helmet. It does help and it does protect.
How heavy is it too?
Right. You're like, I guess it feels a little funny. And it looks goofy. I feel like it's the goofy look. He's like, I can't get endorsements if I'm out here looking like I've got a soft condom on my head. Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of over it. But the first time it was happening, week 1, 2, 3, like when I'd see it on my TV, I'm like, oh, my internet's glitching, and I'd be, they're wearing a Guardian. But it looks, it is obscure. But I'm here for it. Safety, not to be corny, but it is important.
I don't want to see Tua do a fencer position again. Yeah.
No, but he's got to do what's right for him. I don't. It's up to him. He's a heck of a player. They were saying he could win MVP by not playing, which is really funny. Not in a bad, just he is really good. Mike McDaniels and him have a thing.
Knock on Skyler, yeah. He won someone else a game about the MVP by playing so poorly with a good offense and that kind of scheme.
He's really good.
He should just troll the fans and wear a Cleveland Guardians cap on the sideline when he's not in.
He's the helmet warm.
I wore my Giants hoodie, Mac. The Dodge. I hate the Dodge. I'm sorry,
I was born for the Yankees too. Yeah,
we'll talk.
That was
baseball.
A good game.
We'll be a baseball episode. So the next one we got the New York Jets going to New England, who just traveled from London. We'll go back the opposite way. Mac, I'll let you start this one. Jets are favorite. Are you taking the Jets or New England?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Jets. I've been picking them. They've been losing even when I pick them. But yeah, the Patriots. I probably will pick against the Patriots a lot of the games. They don't look good at all. I think bringing in Adams is huge. He didn't have a monster game at all. Coming into his first game, I think that will pick up. You can see Rodgers trying to get in the ball. I think again, first play of the game. I think he's throwing back shoulder to him. I'm like, there's the Green Bay Packer days of throwing back shoulder, and Rodgers is clearly trying to get in the ball. So I think they're going to be fun to watch. I don't know if their record's going to even out at the end of the year like people predicted, but we'll see. I think they got to compete with the Bills, of course, but I think they can make some noise if they get that thing rolling. I love Breece Hall. I think he's a beast. They're going to put it together soon, and maybe this week, hopefully against the Patriots.
Yeah, nice division game though. We'll see what happens. Andrew, who are you feeling for this one?
I got to stick with the Jets for the same reasons. I mean, Devontae Adams showed up last week. I started him in our fantasy league. I said it last week that there's intuition when it comes to throwing to a space, but when you're throwing to a spot, like you need guys that you trust, and there needs to be a connection, and that connection's still there, obviously. And those guys are whisper on the sidelines about plays they want to see, or they're working together trying to strategize, and that matters a lot. Like those spot plays, it takes a lot of confidence in both those players to either attack the ball from the receiving position or throwing the ball knowing that they're not even looking at you at that time. And I think they are able to do that. And I don't see that kind of connection on the Patriots. I wish them all the best. My mom's a diehard fan, but I don't know. Ramondre Stevenson, like that, the running game, if they can get it going, maybe they can keep it close. But if they go down 2 scores, it's tough to fall back or catch up when someone like Breece Hall's in the backfield too with Aaron Rodgers. So,
And Nate Stone, who you taking for this division matchup?
SamMeeBee, I'll have you go third before I reveal my controversial pick. I like Ramondre Stevenson a lot and Antonio Gibson, but who you got, SamMeeBee? Tell me.
Well, I was trying to go in order. The reason why I didn't go first for this one because I'm actually going to take New England. I think Aaron Rodgers is showing his age, honestly. I think Adams' pickup is huge. Without him, I would definitely not even take the Jets. Even though they lost, I think Drake May has been improving. His stats weren't too bad last week. And, yeah, they came from London. This is the 25th time a team has came back from London without a bye, and they are winning. They've won 16 of those 25 matchups, so 16-8. It's like 66% winning percentage. Right now, I think almost 90% of the bets are on the Jets. I'm just fading the public, and that's why I wanted to go last to surprise you with my New England take. Are you also going New England then?
I want to go New England, but I'm going to stick with the Jets. But I like everything you said, and I said it last week. It's terrible, but there is something funny about the Jets faltering. But with Devontae Adams, I am shocked at how poorly, and then Gerard Mayo calling the Patriots soft, and then Bill Belichick being like, those were the top defense and run game last year. Like, it's really funny. As not a Patriots fan, I find it all quite funny. But, I got to go Jets here. I'm rooting for New England, though. Don't get it wrong.
I didn't read all my notes. My first line was, I don't dislike the Jets as much as some other teams, but I love watching them lose. So it's weird. It's about them.
I can't explain it.
Maybe it's because where we're from, I know it's a lot of Bills fans. So we're closer to Buffalo compared to the other 2 cities. So that's not the Jets.
They made a trade for Aaron Rodgers, and they were supposed to be in the Super Bowl last year. He tears his Achilles. They're supposed to be in the Super Bowl this year, and it turns out they had a better record with Zach Wilson. Like, it's just you can't help but kind of think that's funny.
There was a video of him picking his nose and eating it.
He denied that. I did see that. He said that's not true. That's not true.
Well, the last person to do that was Gardner Minshew, and they lost the next week. So.
Gardner Minshew is not out there saying yes or no. He's like, shit happened.
Poor Gardner. I like
I'm
Minshew
back
a
up
lot.
now. I didn't think the camera's on me. Yeah.
Minshew mania.
So now we finally differ on that one, but now we get to the game that Andrew mentioned.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So, Dan, you seem excited about this one. You want to start us off with this one?
I am, because Gillies, you called it last week. Atlanta would not beat Seattle. You were right, Seattle over Atlanta, and you said they were inconsistent. I wanted to think Raheem Morris and Kirk Cousins would have something going. I'm going to pick the Falcons here, but it's just because the Buccaneers are so wounded. I don't think they're a better team necessarily. If the Bucs had Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, I would take the Bucs, but they don't. Although I'll throw this out there as well. I had the thought this week, like, well, maybe Baker Mayfield gets some of that Thursday night magic from a couple years ago. He's playing with these receivers, short week. He gets it going. I guess not short week, regular week, but yeah, I got to go Falcons here. Yeah, I like Baker a lot.
I hear what you're saying. I'll go next. I don't know if I believe in Atlanta. I don't know what to make of them. I don't understand how they lost to Seattle.
Yeah.
Tampa's missing their top 2 receivers, but Atlanta only has 6 sacks in their first 7 games, which is 5th worst since 2000. So I think they're not going to get to Baker. I think Baker's going to have time to throw. And in this league, you don't really need great receivers sometimes, as long as you have time to get someone open.
And if they catch it.
I'm going to take Buccaneers. And they met a couple weeks ago, And it was a Thursday night, and the total was 66. And I think these two teams do score a lot. So it's actually my next bet I'm taking the over in this game. And then we'll keep going on the wheel. Mac, who are you taking in this division matchup?
I like the Falcons. At first, I was leaning towards the Buccaneers. They look really good. The Falcons look pretty good too, but I think with, like Danny Stone was saying, that the injuries, I like your point about the pass rush not being there, but still, I mean, I got sick seeing Godwin getting hurt so late in the game when it was kind of, probably shouldn't have been doing, just kneeling maybe. And
he was fighting for yards, Mac. It was healthy.
Yeah, right.
I lost by 2 points. I'm like, go, buddy. And then I'm like, no.
Yeah. And I like actually the broadcast that, different from maybe 10, 15 years ago where they show the replays. They said, our booth said we're not going to show the replays. Pretty gruesome. Just side point. I kind of like the way they're going with that. Like, why show I'm not even sure of his injury. I know it's a lower leg.
It was a dislocated foot.
Oh, yeah, I did see his foot kind of.
Usually, yes.
Might have been on a hip drop tackle. Who's to say? That's a tough call.
They haven't been calling those, by the way. Just my opinion. They said they're going to start.
I don't see how you. It's just it's a tough.
Too busy watching the head and neck area of the quarterback. You don't want to miss those hip drop tackles.
Well.
Unless you're in the end zone, of course. Yeah.
The Vikings shouldn't have put themselves in that situation.
That's
love that.
He put his face mask in his hand. It was his fault.
Yeah, right. Yeah. If he didn't have a
I'm
face
not going to
mask
blame
on,
officiating, although the officiating was very favorable to the Rams that day.
The last, but give me Falcons. I like their offense. I think it will, oddly enough, be a more of a shootout again, like the previous game, but still. I think Falcons, Cousins. I like Cousins. He's scrappy and getting a little older, but I think he still throw the ball pretty well.
It's cool.
Yep. And then what about you, Andrew? Who are you taking on this division matchup?
So I mean, we were talking about the injuries. Godwin and Mike Evans. Those guys are fantastic, and they changed the game. I think that really helped their run game look a lot better, Bucky Irvin and stuff like that. And I hope that the Bucs are doing this one. I feel like they still have the team together. Whether they put it together on the field, that's a good question. Last week, I like coming off of being sick and stuff like that. Kenneth Walker being a big change for the Seattle Seahawks, and he catches that over the shoulder pass. I was like, I didn't know he could even do that. Like, I didn't see that even at Michigan State. But in this one, I think I like the Falcons. I believed in them in the beginning of the season. Like, I was like, okay, they're gonna win now. They're making trades. And I'm still a Kyle Pitts believer, but I'm also delusional. I'm still a Raiders fan, so I don't know. Maybe they're going to get it together. Darnell Mooney's, and I'm another big Darnell Mooney fan. I don't know.
Sure.
Like a Madden season where they're putting the team together, but in real football, you got to be able to do it on the field too. So I hope they get it right here against a team that's kind of beat up, but should be kind of the scrappy team that's going to keep playing. So I like them.
Darnell Mooney is like really fast. Like he is
really fast.
Super athletic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Maybe the Buccaneers will trade for Cooper Kupp when he starts. And last week we pulled up some betting numbers. I know it might be a little small on your guys' screen. I just wanted to take a look at this matchup. Over under is 46.5. Again, I'm already taking the over on that one. Last matchup was 66. We'll see. You brought up the tight end there, Kyle Pitts. Let's see his receiving prop. They have him at 42.5 yards. You think he goes over that?
That's a reasonable level to start with. It's so variable with him. I don't know. Like he'll get 2 targets and no catches, and then the next game they'll go out in the first drive and he'll have 3 catches, and you're like, why are you not peppering him every once in a while?
Or he'll catch a pass for 50, and you're like, and then that's all he does the whole game.
Yeah,
like literally, like it's
crazy. You're like, what the? Send him down the street or it's anything. Yeah,
put him in the backfield.
Nightmare, but if you don't give him the ball, I don't know.
I agree.
You can bet on the longest reception, so his is 18.5. Like I know with Tutu, he talked about his
longest reception.
Yeah, I would take the over, SamMeeBee. I bet Pitts catches a pass for 30, but if he does more than that, I won't speak to that. He probably catches 1 pass for 30 yards and calls it a day.
I was gonna say, if he catches a pass for more than 30 yards, he's done for the day. He's putting his helmet off. He's like, all right, I did enough for those guys. Yeah.
A couple that jump out at me. Ray McLeod, he kind of in a sneaky in a deep league. I have him. I mean, I can see him getting a catch over 16.5. This one right here, Bijan Robinson, I can see him catching a screen and just going 12 yards at least. over and a half.
Sure.
Oh yeah, I would take the over on the Bijan Robinson one.
They have two
I like
really good
Tyler
running
Algier
backs.
too. I like that
Me too.
backfield. That's an insane backfield too.
I agree.
Mm.
You think
Tyler Algier would be a starter on a different team.
he
was the starter before they drafted
was.
Bijan. It was
Mhm.
like, sure.
And here's
Bijan,
the fun one we talked about, Mac, is rushing attempts. Sometimes they have quarterbacks listed because kneel downs do count. So right now they only have Baker at 4.5 rush attempts. I wonder if we'll go over that.
I bet he's probably going to be in
That's a-
scramble mode. I could see. We'll see. What do I know?
Like I said, they're not getting the quarterback, so I don't
Right.
see him scrambling. But then
You're
with
right.
other
You're right.
receivers,
If they
You're
do a
right.
basic man coverage because they think they can man up, I mean, that's going to open opportunities underneath. And I mean, speaking of short weeks and Baker being magic, like sometimes he makes those decisions and you're like, wow, okay, all right, this guy's got it.
The Bucs are getting Antoine Winfield back. Or they should be. That's not a little. I heard it on the Gruden show. That's not a little thing.
for fun, who scores the first touchdown this game? Bijan's a favorite.
Probably Kyle Pitts.
Now that I doubt
That's
him
all
so
he
much,
does.
it's on a 50-yard reception. Yeah,
Not
I mean,
Baker.
Bijan
Really.
is the safest one,
Yeah.
but it's probably going to be like Algier or Ray McLeod. Everybody's like, damn it, yeah.
Yeah.
Or Trey Palmer.
It's gonna be
I see the Falcons scoring a touchdown before the Bucs, but I hope the Bucs win. I like the Bucs. I don't dislike the Falcons either. I just like the Bucs. I like Baker.
be a pick six.
Pick six. I like it.
Yeah.
I always look at the numbers. I like looking at them. Maybe we'll probably do that.
Kirk Cousins shedding his dome narrative, where he can't win in a dome or whatever.
Yeah, you're right. Oh crap!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a dome. We can finally win.
Yeah,
This is his favorite matchup all season.
that was a fun take you had earlier in the year.
And now we got an interesting matchup. We got a first overall pick versus second overall pick, and Marcus Mariota because I don't
Yeah.
believe Jan Daniels is starting. Which
I don't either.
Whoa.
I don't believe so.
I'll go ahead and start this one. I mean, I'm assuming Mariota's starting because that's why Chicago's favored. Yeah, they've been improving and they did have a bye, but I think Washington's pretty good. Mariota ran the ball I think 12 times last week. So this offense is built for Daniels, and I think Mariota's a good Walmart version of Jay Daniels. So I'm taking Washington in this one. Danny Stone, who are you taking this one?
I like Dan Quinn. I'm gonna go with the Bears. I don't dislike your take, and I think I am rooting for. I like the Commanders as a story. It's fun, but I don't. That team is. I think that team is that team with Jaden Daniels, and without Jaden Daniels, I can't put my stock in Marcus Mariota. I'm gonna go Bears here.
What about you, Mac? Who you taking in this matchup?
I'm trying to speed read some articles about Jaden Daniels to see if he's in.
Speed reading for an
Yeah,
opinion, real quick.
Well, because if he's playing, I really like the Commanders this year. Jaden
Same.
Daniels has been he's from I think week 2, week 3. He just was offensive rookie of the year, and so
I don't think people
This
realize
was a
how
tough
good
one.
Terry McLaren is either. Like they're like he doesn't have anybody to throw to. It's like he's
Yeah.
he's so good.
I mean,
he's been throwing those deep.
He's looked gorgeous doing it.
If he was in, I don't think Chicago would be this big of a favorite, honestly.
Right. I don't think they would be, yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm just gonna go on a limb. I'm gonna say Commanders. I'm just gonna pick them.
Mac,
no. I'm gonna do it. I don't know what's because it kind of
Bobby
looks
Wagner.
like Jaden Daniels is trying to play in this game, and so I've been picking the Commanders the last few weeks because of what they've been doing. I think Mariota's a fine quarterback. He could get the ball out, and he's been there before, and so I'm going to stick with the Commanders. I think the Bears they're putting it together, but Commanders are just a little bit ahead of them and putting it all together. So give me the Commanders.
I like it, Mac.
Before I kick it over to Andrew, I mean, it's FedEx Field. I don't wish it, but I can see Caleb Williams getting hurt, and I don't even know who the backup is.
Good grief.
Right? Yeah.
I don't wish
And-
it. That's why
the
Daniels is
backup-
playing. Daniels can play.
Mike Glennon, isn't it? Mike Glennon. That's a bad joke.
No, it's
not.
that Badgett, Tyler Badgett or whatever.
Yeah.
He started some games last year. I
Yeah,
think.
he's. I think he's had a game where he threw like 3 tutties or something like fantasy
bet
football.
I
in
bet
the
James
wild.
helped.
Yeah.
He was the one playing on that field. So, Andrew, who you taking in this matchup?
This one, it's an interesting one. The Bears aren't too bad, but I got to go Commanders in this one. I've got to stick with my man Mariota. He's got it. The guy's got
Former
it. He makes a
Raider.
good decision. Oh, well, yeah, former Raider. I was going to say, from his experience on the Raiders, week 1, he got a huge carry, and then immediately, like, he fractured his collarbone or something like that. But those Heisman trophies are really heavy, and that's something I like about college football, the NFL. It does seem like Heisman trophies are a little heavy. Guys that don't play quarterback don't do too poorly. Devonta Smith's doing pretty well, but the Commanders have a really good team, and I think Brian Robinson's probably going to be a big difference in this game. If they can get their run game going and they're going to be able to sustain it without Jaden Daniels, that's a big difference. I feel like the Commanders remind me of like the Colts, where they have this superstar young quarterback who loves to run the ball, but also results in them getting hurt. And if the backup can bring it together, I mean, I trust Joe Flacco more than Mariota, but I think that those veteran quarterbacks, they intentionally brought in guys that they know can put the ball down the field accurately if they need to step in, and then they let their kind of rookies run around and dive headfirst and get hurt because they're playing their ball and they're playing their game, and then the team's built to fill in when they're out. So Terry McLaurin's out there, and I think I don't know what the connection is with Mariota, but I think if their run game's going, it's going to give them a better chance. Some play actions and stuff like that, pepper some of those in there, and let him make some good choices. If they throw out a spider 2-wide banana, maybe it'll be even better too. So I know Mariota can throw that one.
What'd you find, Matt? Did you find anything on that?
Yeah, and actually, to your point, Andrew, Terry McLaurin was interviewed about Mariota. He said he makes it really easy on everybody because he's such a leader. He knows what it's supposed to look like and how to execute this offense. So that sounds like he said we're confident going forward with him being the quarterback if that's the case. I still think Jaden Daniels comes in and plays. And if not, I think Mariota's he's a good football player and a great leader. And I think he was 18 for 23 for 205 and 2 touchdowns when he came in. So
I'm gonna
without taking reps the whole week, yeah.
Since you brought up McLaurin, I'll bring up the DJ Moore quote where they're like, "Does Caleb Williams taking control of the offense please you?" He's like, "Please me." Like, let's not get carried away here. It doesn't please me. He's like, "I like seeing it. It doesn't please me." It was really amazing. If you haven't seen it, amazing soundbite. DJ Moore's awesome. I like your guys' take. I'm going to stick with the Bears, who I think have a really good defense. Like, not quite Chiefs level, but I think up Matt Eberflus. I talked my smack last year. He looks legit.
I inspired 2 banana take, by the way. That was a good one.
Manders might be good. Manders might just be good.
I didn't want to miss that part. Also, we'll see what happens because, I mean, I don't know how severe the injury is. I think if Mariota plays good, this is a pretty good defense. So I don't know if I'm going to rush. I don't know the rest of their schedule. I don't know if I'm going to rush Daniels back from that rib injury because he runs so much. But I don't know. I think Mariota has a good game. Maybe think about sitting on one more.
This isn't a division game, but this is a huge NFC matchup for these teams. At this point in the season, this is a really big game.
That's a good point, yeah.
All right, now we got another late game. We got Green Bay going to Jacksonville, who just traveled back from London. They spent the last 2 weeks in London. And Green Bay, they've already played the other 3 AFC South teams, and they're 3-0 already in that division. But does this feel like a trap game to you? Or is it just me?
No, I feel the same. I'm going to pick the Packers, but I don't think it's a bad take, SamMeeBee. I could see if they get Travis Etienne back, maybe he breaks off a big one, or maybe they roll with Tank Bigsby, who's looked great. But I'm going to take the Packers here. But no, I don't think your feeling's bad at all. If Jacksonville gets a lead and then Jordan Love I've got him in fantasy. He throws some. I'm a big Jordan Love fan, and he still throws some really bad picks. Like if he's going to do, but I'm going to take the Packers here, and I don't think it's going to be close to be. But I don't think your suspicion is crazy. I mean, yeah.
I just wonder what is Jacksonville doing the last 2 weeks in London. I think they spent time watching film. I think they watched film on the flight over, and I'm going crazy here. I'm taking Jacksonville to win this one. They're going to save their head coach. I don't even know his name because he's on the hot seat.
Doug Peterson, Super Bowl champion.
Doug Peterson. He's got a statue from the Dallas Stadium.
Yeah, he does.
Lawrence, his hair will be flowing. I mean, I don't want to take them, but I just feel like they had nothing to do in London. They're watching film, you know?
It's a bold take, dude.
I love it. All right, Andrew, you go next. Who are you taking this matchup?
I like those lone wolf picks. I think they're pretty cool, so I got to help you out. I got to go with Packers in this one. We were talking about Bakersfield quarterbacks. Jordan Love's one of them. The guy's doing pretty well. Last year, as the season was ending, he was looking really good. that receiving core, when it's on, it's on. And guys like Romeo Dobbs, Christian Watson are pretty good. But I always got to stick with the offensive backfield, and my man Josh Jacobs is out there. So when they're running tough and they can hold the ball and control the clock, I think it's going to be a big difference if they can get their passing game to catch up. It's tough to beat them by any team, let alone the Jacksonville Jags, who are coming all the way back after back-to-back London games. I think that can really drag on a team, and I wish them the best. But I'm surprised by the spread. I thought it might be a little bit larger.
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, I forgot to highlight that too with the Patriots. Like I said, coming from London with no bye, the team is 16-8. So
I know that's very surprising.
So that's why I'm like, yeah, I'm sticking with the Packers to lose. And are the Raiders like the Pirates of the NFL, where their players go off to other teams and do better? We're talking about Josh Jacobs, we're talking about Mariota. These are all former Raiders. So.
I know. That's how I know him. So I'm like, yeah, I know him. Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. There's a couple games. I mean, I'm surprised with the spread. But what about you, Mac? Who you taking in this matchup?
I'll let you, SamMeeBee. I'll let you be the lone wolf because I'm going to take the Packers too. I think Jordan Love coming back he's been looking really good. The Packers, and they have Robert Saleh in the locker room now, and a fluid role. Per Matt LaFleur. So I like the Packers. It's interesting. They're third in the division at 5-2. I think that division is going to be just all season long. I can see all four teams maybe squeaking into the playoffs.
I get too.
And the Packers are just a good team. I like where they're at. So yeah, Packers. And I think like Danny Stone, I don't think it's going to be as close. The spread's kind of small, which is interesting.
Yeah,
to me.
I was surprised by that too.
I don't think they cover. I don't think the Jaguars cover. Every pick I've chosen the Jaguars for has gone the opposite way. So maybe SamMeeBee will get that.
Jags
that's been me with the Giants this year. Every time they come, this goes opposite way. And I know I was looking at it. Is it 88% of the bets are on Packers covering, and so the public is hammering the Packers. So the spread not moving. It's like, what do we know?
Interesting.
You talked about Jordan Love. Let's see his stats. Over under 261.5 passing yards.
I mean, I just see them. I stand by what I said. Obviously, any given Sunday, cliche, but I can see a world where sure Jacksonville wins, but I think the Packers blow them out. I think it's going to be Donovan Wicks and Watson and Reed and Dobbs and they'll be like, here's Josh Jacobs, and he'll be like, I'm here too. Like they're just gonna. I just think they're gonna do whatever they want to that defense. But Trayvon Walker's back. Jacksonville has really good players. I don't know what I have no excuses for them starting so soon.
Sometimes I like to play that game where like you were talking about 261 for passing yards. I was like, if Jordan Love passes for more than 250, I think they win. And if it's under, I don't. In this case, I think if he throws more, if he throws under, I still see ways they can win. And that makes me more confident in those kind of picks. Like if they've got like, oh, wow, Christian Watson had a big game, or, like, hey, we got a couple different guys. The defense showed up this week. You're like, okay, I can see that. The Jags, I'm just kind of scraping, I wouldn't say scraping the barrel, but it's tough to find guys who are like, wow, this ATN's going to really tear it up. Like his brother's doing well in the college, so like maybe he's going to start showing up. I don't know. That's a lot of weight on his shoulders to carry a team, but the Packers look like there's a lot of guys bearing the load.
Yeah.
And I just looked it up. So he's played in 4 games this year, Jordan Love, because he missed a couple games of injury. In all 4 games, he's gone over his passing prop. And some projections have him closer to 300. So I'm thinking it's one to look into. But
I'm not a betting man, but that makes sense to me. I think he's legit. I think he's a top quarterback, at least in the NFC, if not the NFL. I know he has those bad picks, so they say, but then he comes out and he's like, well, I'm gonna keep throwing it, and I don't know. I get scared doing that in Madden. He's doing it in real life.
You were hoping the game will freeze.
Yeah.
I just looked it up. Jacksonville's the second worst pass defense. So they're going to be winning, so he has to throw the ball.
Cool. I like it. Hey, they could win. That'd be a big win for you, SamMeeBee. Jacksonville.
I mean, I have no skin in the game, so it doesn't matter to me. But then we got a division matchup. This is an interesting one. We got the Colts. Anthony Richardson, he played last week, assuming he's still in. Houston's still looking good. Mac, you want to start this one? You got any take on this one?
Yeah, I'm a secret Texans fan, so I'm going with the Texans again. I love that team. I think they Their coaching is phenomenal. I just is easy. I don't like what Richardson's. I think Flacco does better in that offense. Some reason that someone said earlier about Flacco's ability to come in being that vet and just not having any pressure and just whipping that ball around. I think he just, if you want to win games, it's probably best. But if, for the development for Richardson, it makes sense to leave him in there. But yeah, I think they're still trying to figure out what they want to do over there, and Houston already has it together. I think this one's easy for me with the Texans.
Yeah, I'll go next with this one. I want Indy to win this one, but Stroud at home is pretty good. Last week I highlighted his stats on the road. He's not that great. Even last week, the score was close. He didn't really look that good. So I'm definitely taking Indy in this one. And another bet I have in this one, I'm taking over Mixon yards. He's only played, I think, in 4 games because of an injury, but 3 of the 4 games he went over 100 yards. The last 2 games alone, he has 2 touchdowns each game. So, and Houston has a pretty good pass defense. They're 4th best, and Indy gives up the 2nd most rush yards. So I'm just thinking everything points me to Mixon, Texans, take the Texans. What about you, Danny Stone?
Yeah, I'm going to have to take the Texans. I agree with Mac, and Andrew pointed out Joe Flacco, I think, earlier, as far as Mariota, Joe Flacco, the backups. If Joe Flacco is starting, I think I maybe would pick Indy, but they got Will Anderson still. And I know, Mac, I assume you're a big DeMeco Ryans fan, 49.
I am.
That's pretty right. Totally get that. He's looked great. I doubted them last year. I doubted them in the playoff game. I'm like, because DeMeco Ryans like, it's like any other game. And I'm like, no, it's not. And then it's like, oh, I guess he's the coach. Yeah, it is. They crushed the Browns. I'm going to actually, the Joe Flacco had the Browns at that time. So go figure. But I'm going to take the Texans as well.
Do you think it's a close game? Did they cover 5?
So Houston's been – I don't really like hearing – I'm going to get on a little bit of a pedestal. I don't like people saying, and I get it, but we haven't seen the best ball from Houston. I don't think we've needed to. They're winning games. I said last week, C.J. Stroud just – like, he's like, fine, I only need to – like, they lost to the Packers last week. I'll give him that. But he's like, fine, you want me to throw it 5 times? I'll throw it 5 times. You want me to throw it 40 times? I'll throw it 40. I just think he's really – and this is to your point last week, I think, Gillies. He's very mature and not phased for his for any age, honestly, not just his age, any age so far. And he looks real. I could see them winning by 2 points, but I see them winning. However, could Joe Mixon get rumbling and they're just, hitting Dalton Schultz on play action or whatever? Like, sure. The offense is different with Nico Collins, but I think they've proven they can be competent without him. But that'll be a big boon for them when he comes back. That's a real receiver.
Yeah. What about you?
So I can see it going either way. It doesn't really answer your question. Yeah. I bet it's a close game. It's a division game, but I wouldn't be shocked if Houston wins by 10 points, 11 points, whatever.
Yeah, down there in the Stroud house. All right, Andrew, who are you taking this matchup? You agreeing with us?
Yeah, I mean, there's not going to be a lone wolf in this one. You guys took all the exact points I was going to say. I'll say it out loud. Like last week, the one pick I was kind of I was like Packers, Texans. Like, man, I was whacking forth even after we turned it off, and I was like, I don't know, that Texan team I really liked. I'm not a secret fan anymore. I'm maybe I shouldn't be, but yeah, the Texans are a really good team, really well put together. If Flacco was starting and Pittman was playing, I think I just saw or last night, like Pittman's out. He's not playing. He didn't practice fully on Friday. But if Pittman's playing, Flacco's in, this team looks a lot differently. That run game is complemented by a passing game. And
yeah,
Anthony Richardson can sling it, but I don't see him slinging into Michael Pittman with him being out. Like it's a big difference too for this team. And the
Pittman
Texans
are
really
Pierce. Yeah, they do have a good core. You're right.
They do, yeah. And Flacco is able to exploit that, but I haven't seen Anthony Richardson do that yet. He's out there running the ball around, which they're great for the running game, and their offensive backfield's looking good. But the Texans are a really good team. And when you do that draft day move, move back. I'm going to get all my picks and all the players I want, and they look really good. And you got to compliment the front office on that one too, right? Getting the guys together, coaching a good team, and I'm not a doubter. I like the Texans in this one.
I to your point though, SamMeeBee, as far as could this be Colts are sneaky 3-4. Like I don't know if people realize like the Colts are very alive and they look all right, but I'm not going to change my pick. I agree with everything you guys said, obviously.
Interesting point with this game is if the Colts win, actually they take over first place in the division.
Yeah.
So I think they're 4-3. The Texans are 5-2. So yeah,
Are they 4-3? Wow. So they're
I
just 3-4. Holy smokes.
Yeah, I know. 4-3. They seem
sneakier
like
than I
worse
thought.
record than that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah.
um,
I said I have interest in Colts winning in this matchup, so I'd be happy if they win.
Sure.
And I pulled it up real quick because I mentioned Joe Mixon rush yards. So it's 77.5, and for him to get 100 yards, it's plus 165. Might sprinkle some money on that. On the bottom here, I like this for Joe Mixon and Jonathan Taylor combined, 147.5. I think of all the
Taylor playing?
Yeah.
I think he is. Yeah.
So I mean, they wouldn't have props on it, but they didn't. They didn't even have any Mariota stats. And
interesting.
That's present.
I think Houston's a better team, but this might be an interesting one, boys. I could see it. I could see
the Colts pulling this one out.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm thinking of these three. The one I'll probably sprinkle some money on after this podcast. I'll have to log in. I'm gonna probably do this over combined 147. I think it's a good one.
I can see
sure.
that.
Joe Mixon's legit. If he stays healthy, he's a top RB in the league. He just gets hurt.
That's what I like doing. I like looking at the numbers and the betting. So that's usually where I come in, throwing in some numbers like that. So I think last week I gave out 6 or 8 or 7. I discussed a couple, and I think I got 75% of them right. And actually,
you're hitting it.
Yeah.
I know. Quick side note: we look at the 2-point conversion. So I looked at the numbers.
That was rough.
I know there's limited 7 weeks, but on the odd weeks, there's been 8.5 attempts for 2-point conversions per week, with the average about 3 successes. Even weeks, it's 5.3, so 3 less attempts, and succeeds 1.3 at times. So I'm taking under 2.5 2-point conversions. Succeed.
Last week was wild with the 2-point conversions.
That last week it blew that because I kept telling that stat to everyone. Oh man, he had 2-point conversions, and then they're like, then we watched the week, and you're like, wow, okay, never mind.
People are going for it.
Conversion week, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's why I was curious. I looked it up, and it's on the odd numbered weekends. They go for a lot. Week 1, 10 attempts. Week 3, 8. Week 5, 7. Week 7, 9 attempts. And then the even numbers, week 2, 4 attempts. Week 4, 5 attempts. They don't even go for it as much on the even numbers. It doesn't make any sense. But I already put a unit on under 2.5 successful 2-point conversions. So keep an eye on that. If you see it, make sure they don't score. Cheer for the miss.
I didn't. You asked me to text you last week, and I didn't want, because I think there were 2-point conversions in the first game, the Jacksonville.
Right off the bat.
He might be in trouble today.
Yeah, like I said, and then that's why I was like, I'm curious, like, why do they have this? And then I looked it up. I'm like, wow, alternating. You gotta follow that. So under this week, over next week, we're gonna alternate. I'm gonna play this. If it hits this week, I'm gonna go over next week.
I don't think people appreciate how hard it is to get 2 yards in the NFL when the defense knows, like, you're like, this is what you're trying to do is a 2-point conversion. I don't know.
The real ironic part about those 2-point conversions is you would think they should be easier, right? You have a destination that's like 2 yards away, but
they're easy and bad.
The opposite, like the rest of the field is so much more condensed. So if you're running, a 3-step drop, guys are already in the back of the end zone. Like there's no space,
Yeah, and if there's a penalty if they're kicking a PAT, there's a penalty that puts at the 1. That I would love to see the stats on success rates after it goes to the 1. I feel like once it goes to the 1, the success rates jump. So I think
if you're the Eagles, penalties, you can just push.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Well, yeah.
I mean, most offenses now have been doing that.
Yeah,
Russell Wilson did a push last week, as a matter of fact. Good for him.
He did, yeah.
Mac brought up exactly what I was going to say. Was a lot of those 2-point conversion attempts were from the 1-yard line, like the Jets Sunday night game. They went for it just because, like, for no reason. It was first quarter, second quarter, whatever it was.
Yeah.
They didn't need the 2-point conversions. So a lot of teams, when they get the penalty, like, yeah, let's just go for 2. And like, that's when I lost it when the Jets got it the first time.
Right.
Didn't even need it.
Yeah, that was. They were.
I don't know.
So
I was filling in as a coach. I'm an interim head coach.
Yeah,
I gotta grab points where I can grab them, and you're like, okay, there's pressure to show up in ways that Saleh didn't. And you're like, okay, we have an opportunity. If I pass on this, what does that mean to be a coach? Like, my coaching not to lose. Yeah. So.
Yeah. What is the metric called? There's a certain word, like the statistic on the probability of going for it on 4th and 1 or whatever it is. They have metrics a certain,
and they track that per coach. Yeah, and you're like, this guy goes for it. Yeah.
I saw
Staley at
some
one point was
comment.
going for fourths all the time. Yeah.
This is a little, but Rams-Vikings game, when I was doing the game thread, I saw some comments because Sean McVay, the Rams, they went for the extra point to go up 8 instead of taking the 2-pointer and going up 9. And people are like, go for 2. And it's like, I don't know, go up 8. And it's like, you can't lose. Like, there's no 9-point play that I'm aware of in the NFL. So it is really interesting how coaches' teams are playing it, whether it's an interim head coach, which the Jets, which is fascinating. I don't know. That's a rough one, SamMeeBee. I don't think I'd touch that, but hey, I'm rooting for you. Under 2.5, I'm rooting for you.
I didn't even think people were trying to make him go for 2. My first thought is if you're going to get the extra point, you go up 8. That's tougher on the other offense to score A and B, get the 2-point conversion. And also, if the defense blocks, like if they went for 2, it was like a pick return.
They take it back.
2 points.
Yeah.
So I think the safer play there is the field goal attempt to prevent a possible other team scoring. I know it sounds weird.
Right.
That was a great rule they added. We can knock the NFL all day, but I love if you return a 2-point conversion, you get the 2 points. Like that was, I believe, in the last 10 years, that's a newer rule. It's really cool.
I think they probably should make it worth more. Like safeties and returns of 2-point conversion should probably be like 4 points. I feel like that's a huge play, and that kind of momentum seems to be big. Yeah, I know, right? Safety's worth 4. And the other thing is when you
I would change Vegas completely.
So you're sitting there with that decision. Should I make it 9 or 8? The other thing is the 7, right? When you put the ball in the air, 3 things can happen, and 2 of them are bad. Yep. You want the other offense to have to do something instead of just having the opportunity, right? You don't want to give them more oxygen. Be like, hey guys, like we're only down by 7. Like if they missed the 2-point, like we got this game. But if they're like, wow, we're down by 8, like we got to score and then score again,
and then score again. 100%.
Got to put the pressure on the other team. I feel like that's good coaching.
And I wanted to highlight another thing. We talked about 1 yard. I remember I used to do the research, but then I had a hard time finding on sportsbooks the shortest touchdown, which actually MGM does have now, 1.5 yards. Back, I used to do the research. I remember it was like 8 of the last 10 Super Bowls had a 1-yard touchdown. It was like 80% of the playoff games. I think my research was from 2020 through 2022. Like 3 years of research, but then I couldn't find the bet anymore. And I was always hammering the under because there's so many pass interference in the end zone. There's always so many things that set up at the 1-yard line. So this is a bet. Like this game I pulled up first, Houston and Indianapolis. I'm surprised it's only minus 130. I'm definitely going to put money on that. Like, there's so many 1-yard touchdowns that happen in so many games.
The Colts secondary has been rough, is my understanding. I could totally see them pass interfering Tank Dell or something like that, and then they just hand it to Joe Mixon at the 1-yard line to Europe. I can totally see that, SamMeeBee. I mean, I'm terrible to talk to because I can see a lot of things, but I think that's fair.
I started Tank Dell last week. I'm well aware. Yeah, that guy can get targets in the end zone, and it don't mean points.
It happens so often. I would almost. I remember it was last year. I wanted to do it, but I couldn't find it on the sports book I was using. I was blindly going to do it for every game because it happens so often. They said I did the research, and the sports book I was using got rid of it, and I didn't realize that he has it back. So
nice.
I might start doing that again, blindly taking 1-yard touchdown every game.
Behind the scenes, like, don't put that prop up, man. That's
that responsibility.
Yeah. Yes,
but if you
responsibility.
No, you're right.
I like it. Call the helpline.
I like it.
Oh, and before you hop into this game, you talked about the tush push. I did notice Kyler Murray last season and this season usually comes out for that, and the backup comes in and they push him along.
Yeah, you're right. I can't think of the backup's name, but you're right. Now that you mention that, you're right. I can hear Scott Hansen's voice in my head. The backup is it? I could hear it. Yeah, you're right.
Backup is in, yeah.
All right, we got a nice one here. We got New Orleans Saints going into the Chargers, who play in the same stadium as the Rams, so that's always interesting. But this one, I'm going to start first. I think Herbert's been looking good. I can't believe he no touchdown last week with how much he was passing and looking really good. The Chargers or the New Orleans still has a rookie quarterback. I'm not trusting in them, so I'm not even. Just give me Chargers. What about you, Mac? Who you take on this one? You go next.
Yeah, give me the Chargers too. Saints. I picked them last week. Rattler looked good in his first game appearance 2 weeks ago, and then last week kind of didn't look so hot. And the Saints just overall have been again another unpredictable team. They're up and down, and so Chargers. They just look more steady team. It's at home. Give me the Chargers.
All right, and then Andrew, about you, take him here.
Yeah, I mean it grinds my gears sometimes, but I got to go with Chargers on this one. I think that defense it's okay. It's pretty good. I mean, the guy they're playing pretty solid, and with a guy like Rattler in the backfield, it's tough, right? And when I see Kamara, between the guards, getting 1 yard, I'm like, I don't know if that's his game. I brought it up last week.
Yep.
I feel like they're square peg, round hole situation. If they can get some creativity out there, maybe. But I see the Chargers, covering for sure. And in this one, I think it's going to be a tough one. And then seeing Herbert throw the ball that much, I was like, okay, that looks like Herbert used to look like on some different defensive or offensive schemes. But that offensive scheme, like I say all the time, if you can control the clock, it makes a big difference. They play good defense, control the clock, and he gets a couple good throws in there. It's a very different kind of game. I don't see Rattler keeping pace. No. And, I like the Saints. It seemed like I had an idea what they were trying to do preseason. But now in the regular season with the injuries piling up, you're like, okay, it's tough to be that creative when you got guys, filling up the injury report instead of filling up the roster.
Danny Stone, you did not take the LA Rams to win, but will you take the LA Chargers to win? Hard time every time,
I will, and I appreciate you saying that Mac that Rattler had a good game week 1. I didn't think he even looked terrible in his second game. Like in my mind's eye, he hit some dudes and they dropped it because they're on like their third, fourth, and fifth receiver. They didn't have Chris Olave. I'm not convinced Spencer Rattler's ready to like win in prime time, but I don't think he was as bad as the stats showed, and maybe I'm wrong. But they're so wounded, the Saints are. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chargers. The Saints might be the most wounded team in the NFL. It's and I'm not a big Dennis Allen truther by any stretch, but it's tough to win with the amount of injuries the Saints have. So that's not his fault, I don't think. But
here we go. Shout out former Raiders. Yeah.
Right. Yes. 100%.
I mean, this game might be ugly. I was looking at the passing props. I know I keep pulling it up because I look at the numbers. Herbert prop is 201 yards. And
what's Quentin Johnston at? I'm curious though. I'm kind of interrupting you, but I want to know because he's fascinating to me.
Who? Quentin Johnston?
He's arguably the Chargers' #1 receiver. He's not even on there.
Right,
he's questionable, so maybe he's not playing. Okay, all right. I was just curious.
Well, I prefer FGM. They're my favorite. Some of the other sports books might have him, but yeah, they have 201 yards for Herbert, 179 for Rattler. Those are both low, which honestly, I don't see Herbert going over in that because I mentioned how beginning of the season he wasn't throwing the ball much. One of you brought up last week how the new coach Harbaugh took off some of the pressure. It was noticeable. He's not throwing the ball. One of you said 50 times a game. He really was.
Right. Losing to the Cardinals was kind of shocking to me. I didn't.
Right.
Yeah, I think he threw the ball a lot then because they were losing, but the other games they were winning.
Right.
Not throwing the ball. So I'm leaning towards the under. I'm not making it official. That's one. I'm not expecting him to have a good game.
They might not need him to throw. They might just.
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I feel like if Harbaugh is winning a game, he's like, well, why put the ball in the air?
Yeah.
It's just going to be bad coaching, and that's going to look bad on me. And then, I mean, that kind of diehard, like J.K. Dobbins is there for a reason, right? They brought in the Ravens' former backfield for a reason. He's like, hey, everybody knows what I'm going to do. Like preseason, you're like, okay, well, I know what the Chargers are going to be doing. I didn't know
hope Kenny Vidal is good too. Got a lot of
I was
stock.
talking with Conkley being maybe the best receiver in the AFC West is what someone said. I don't agree with that, but people like him,
I just traded half my team in one of my leagues, and he's one of the guys I got.
Okay,
I'm in last place.
DeAndre Hopkins is the best receiver in the AFC West now.
Don't worry, we're almost to that matchup. This is the Drew Brees Bowl.
If the Saints win, good for them. That would be fun. Yeah.
This next one I think is actually pretty fun. We got Buffalo traveling west to Seattle. This is huge for Dan. Actually, 3 of us being NFC West fans. This is huge. We probably all want Buffalo to win, but what are we feeling? Danny, why don't you start this?
No DK Metcalf. I like Mike McDonald. I actually preview for next week if we do this. I don't love the Rams against Seattle. I don't know. I like Mike McDonald, but I guess I'm going to go Buffalo here. No DK Metcalf, but I could see Kenneth Walker. I can't believe I don't have him in any fantasy leagues. I really like him. I wish he didn't play for Seattle as a Rams fan. But I'm going to go Buffalo, but I probably should pick Seattle.
It's a tough matchup, honestly. What about you?
Yeah.
On this one?
So yeah, I'm the one AFC fan. So yeah, I'm going to go with the AFC team in this one. I liked the Seahawks last week. I thought they were going to match up well. DK
It's a great call, dude.
Right,
That was a
it's
great
a big
call.
deal. I thought I had a feeling for them. Like I said, I don't do the research, just going on vibes. But the Bills, I think they're on the upswing in this case. Bringing in Cooper is kind of like a win now attitude, and I like that. I like Cooper a lot. I mean, the guy is an exceptional talent, and I mean, once again, former Raiders, he's been bounced around, and I don't think it's from lack of talent. I think the teams he ends up on, they can see how moving him is going to make them better. But I mean, I think he needs a team that looks at him and like, that's the guy we want. And I feel like the Bills are that team. When they lost the whole receiving core in the offseason, you're kind of like, oh, well, what are they going to do now? And they decided to make a change here in mid, the early parts of the season.
Allen, Cooper, and Coleman seem really exciting. I know it was 1 week, but it's really exciting.
Yeah, and I mean, I love Josh Allen. John Allen's fun to watch because, yeah, right, yeah. And I feel like they might even cover the spread in this one. The Seahawks, I feel like Kenneth Walker's good, but if you go down and you can't, that's a lot to ask your running back to catch up to a team that can put the ball in the air like that, or a team that can run the ball with their quarterback who's moving around like he's an offensive tackle sized guy out there.
Josh Allen's awesome.
He's big.
He's so fun.
He country strong.
I'll hop in real quick because it was our first four-person stream. But what you said about Cooper, I think that was huge. I wanted to highlight that. I think full week with him. Ever since he got traded to them, he's been the guy I've been trying to target in fantasy. I think it's a huge upside for him and Allen. Josh Allen, I talked about, teams traveling. Well, when he goes to the Mountain West or Pacific time zone, he's 4-1. So he has no problem traveling. And he's from the Midwest. He's from he's actually from California. He's went to Wyoming.
Fireball.
College, yeah.
He went to Wyoming, didn't he?
Yeah, he went to Wyoming. But yeah, I think with DK being out, like you said, huge. But I think the biggest thing of all this to me is Cooper coming in. So I'm taking Buffalo, and this is one I hope they win because we need that for the NFC West. What about you, Mac? You make a clean sweep, take a Buffalo?
Yeah, give me the clean sweep. I agree with Josh Allen coming, like, tough environment, right? Seattle, loud stadium, the fans are great. Even coming from a 49ers fan, I think Seattle has one of the best home field advantages, just how dedicated those fans are. But Josh Allen seems to be fine in those tough environments, and he's gritty, and that whole team is gritty. Like you guys were saying, the Cooper addition is huge. I do have him on my fantasy team, and I was like having to sit him, on the bench because he was in Cleveland. He comes to Buffalo. I'm like, I'm putting him in because I think Allen can get in the ball, and he had 14 points, I think. I think he makes that offense on a different level, which they were already good. That defense is good. You get some pass rush against Seattle. You're in Buffalo. I think we'll do that. Probably have 4 or more sacks. Just make life difficult for the Seahawks. So yeah, and again, I'm maybe just thinking with my heart again, right? Going,
that's all I got.
Seattle
lose, but
What I would say is my blurb on this game is the Seahawks are going to need the 12th man. I don't know if the Bills need Bills Mafia to show up. I think the Seahawks are the ones that really need some kind of X factor to show up. Man.
Wouldn't be shocked at all if Seattle finds a way. They're
spreads that tight for a reason. Yeah.
They got that Pete Carroll thing. I mean, he's not even there, but they find a way. I don't. But no, I'm going to stick with Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo.
Who do you think throws for the most passing yards, Allen or Smith?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Because right now,
James Cook's health worries me. I have him in fantasy, and it worries me. I like Tyler Davis a lot for whatever that's worth. But yeah, I'm going to go. I think Geno Smith is going to be because I'm thinking the Bills take a lead, and Geno Smith's going to be in catch-up mode. So I think more passing yards by Geno. But no DK Metcalf. That makes it interesting.
Yeah.
As far as I know, he's not playing, that's a huge loss. That dude is if he wasn't a Seattle Seahawk, I'd probably like him more, but he's a top dude. He's got some weird fumble and not character, but he gets he'll get these weird personal grabbing people's face masks, but he's a passionate dude.
Much candy.
Yeah, I'm not trying to too much
candy.
Too much junk food. I'm not trying to talk he's a passionate player, so there's a fine line. And he's really good. I mean, if he was a Ram, I'd be a DK Metcalf truther. So
yeah, because I was looking at the props. They have Geno Smith 245, Josh Allen 232. So they do have Smith getting more. But you're right. If he's playing from behind, he's got to throw the ball more.
They've got Jackson Smith and Lockett is still there, which I don't know. Maybe the Steelers should get Lockett for Russell. I don't know why that would happen. Russell and Lockett is a wild connection. But regardless, Doug Baldwin and Tyler Lockett.
Yeah. That's a good receivers. Now it's next matchup.
Russell Wilson's fascinating with the Steelers. It's fascinating.
Oh man, yeah. I was on my short. I was pretty accurate with what I said. I said he's cringy and he's gonna do good. And sure enough, he was good and had a cringy post game interview.
George Pickens looked real.
Yeah.
Man, it was a great catch.
I like Mr. Unlimited. So this next game, we got Philadelphia going to Cincinnati. And before we start, if you remember, the streak continues. The Eagles have not scored in the first quarter. I'm taking the under first quarter 9.5 points. There's no way.
You were right. I was wrong, SamMeeBee. I was like, that has to end. It didn't last week. You were right. You were right.
I'm taking the under in that first quarter. I was 9.5 when I put it yesterday. And last week, I'll go first in this game. I forgot to highlight that Joe Burrow struggles in Cleveland. So that was actually a pretty big win for him. It was his first win in Cleveland in 4 attempts. After he plays Cleveland the next week, he's 5-1-1. I don't think the Eagles are that good with that head coach. And I was actually talking to a coworker who is an Eagles fan. He said, I wish they lost to the Giants because I'm going to get rid of that head coach. So it sounds like even the fans are not going against him. But I know I've been down on Burrow most games, but I'm taking the Bengals to win this one at home. So what about you, Mac? Let you go next on this one.
Yeah, I like the Bengals too. I think they were losing games that they maybe should have won, and they're still, top AFC team. Their record doesn't look it, but I think that both teams are trending sort of in different directions. Bengals are coming up, and yeah, I like Joe Burrow. I think he goes out there and throws over 300 yards. Eagles probably compete in this game. They're still a good team despite their coaching, but close game. But yeah, give me the Bengals.
Yeah, and odds are still 9.5 at MGM, not a sponsor, but just want to be under the first quarter. What about you, Andrew? Who you taking in this matchup?
I like the Bengals usually, and last week it was pretty. I don't know, the battle for Ohio and stuff like that. But if he always loses against the Browns and then turns around and tends to win, maybe with a win against the Browns, he turns around and ends up losing. I think you have a really good point. The Bengals seem to be losing games they should have been winning, and it looked like their offense was always trying to outpace the quality of their defense. And that, I don't know, that makes me nervous. I like the Bengals offense. That is white hot. And Joe Burrow is my quarterback in fantasy. I don't even have a backup. I love Joe Cool. But I don't know. The Eagles seem to potentially be here coming in with a run game that could be really good if they can control the clock. The spread is pretty tight for a reason. If they can exploit that defense and then maybe go in a position, maybe not necessarily go up because that's a bad thing for them. They keep it tight. I think they can win a tight one here. I go Eagles.
Nice, like that. All right, Danny Stone, who are you signing with, the home team or the PA team?
I saw a soundbite of Nick Sirianni talking to Saquon Barkley. It's like a little thing on YouTube. I think it was last week, and he's like, "Hey, you can have your career rushing high if you want to go back in." And Saquon's like, "No, I'm good. Like, let the young ones eat." And he's like, "I know, but it's your call." And it's like, just answer your question, Nick. Like, leave it alone. I question him. He gets to the Super Bowl. Obviously, he's better at NFL coaching than I'll ever be. But I think I'm going to go. I'm going to go Eagles. I'm going to go Eagles. I got a weird feeling. But I like the Bengals in this game, but I'm going to go Eagles. I got a weird feeling.
Yeah, man. It's Coach Barkley asking the team coordinator was asking Coach Barkley what he wants to do. So,
yeah. It just looked.
I saw that one too. I was like, wait, really? Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, "No, I'm good." He's like, "I'm just letting you know. It's up to you." It's like, no, you made that clear in your previous statement, sentence.
Right.
Like, you said no.
I feel like Mike McDaniels is cool and his players see how he's cool. Nick Sirianni's trying, and then you're just like, I don't know. And the Eagles team, it's tough to tell. I mean, this was a toss-up for a reason. Like, that Bengals team, I don't think their record shows how good they are, but the Eagles, their record probably covers up some of the problems they have this year. Yeah.
I think Jalen Hurts is real. Like, my buddy who's an Eagles fan that's done with Jalen Hurts, which I don't think he actually is. He just gets I think Jalen Hurts is really good. They've got Smith and Brown back. But I like I don't know what it is. I'm taking Eagles, but I don't know that I should for whatever that's worth.
I don't know. If we got to gauge our Eagles fandom, what they have to say. Sometimes they have some pretty wild takes on there.
100%. It's a different breed. It's a different fandom.
I know last week I said them to lose because I thought that injury to their tackle, Jordan Mailata, I thought it would be huge, but then it's going to affect them. So I think
the Browns,
bad choice.
Browns are.
This is actually the first game where we're split 2-2. There's been a few low wolf bat picks, but this is the first one we're split on. So that's a good one. And I don't know what happened to my order. This is an early game, so some of my 4 o'clock games snuck up before my 1 o'clock games. But we got 4 o'clock late game here. We got Carolina going to Denver. Thoughts and prayers to Andy Dalton, who's gonna be out. That's probably why the spread jumped up so high. I think Deontay.
The rumors are Bryce Young was the other driver. Those are the rumors. I don't know that it's true. Those are the rumors. I know it's awful. I saw a meme. It's terrible. It's terrible.
See, I don't know because on a serious note, Cam Newton got in a car accident in Carolina. So
you're right. That was weird.
I saw something's going
flipped over.
It's
I
the
think
owner.
he made the comment. He's like, I'm different than most people. They're like, are you playing this week? He's like, I'm different than most people, or something like that.
Dan, it's not Bryce Young. It was the owner. He wants a new quarterback.
Oh no, David, no!
I
drinks
think
to people and he's hitting cars.
I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think we all know with Bryce Young at the helm, this is not even a good team at all.
They don't have Deontay Johnson or Adam Thielen.
Yeah, Thielen's out. He's on the IR. I wonder, is Johnson actually hurt, or he just doesn't want to play?
I wonder. I actually think they might be. I have him in fantasy, and it seemed kind of abrupt. I wonder if they're trading him, but he has been questionable for the last 4 weeks. He's just played through it, so maybe finally.
I traded half my team away. I got Ladd, McConkey, and Johnson in one trade. But yeah, so I'm taking the Broncos. This is probably the easiest to take. I'm taking all week. Not sure about the spread. I mean, who knows? But Broncos. What about you, Dan? Who are you taking?
I'll take the Broncos as well. Go Javonte Williams, I guess. I don't love the Broncos. I think they're 4-3 as well, which is mad respect to them. But it's different than the Colts to me. I think that I would take the Colts over the Broncos, for example. I don't think the Broncos are very good, and I can be dead wrong. I also might just not like Sean Payton, which is, I don't know what my problem is. Probably some Rams stuff going on there. But yeah, I'm going to take the Broncos, and I don't know, Bo Nix, he looks –
yeah.
The defense is real. I think the Broncos' defense is real. The offense, I don't know.
Yeah. All right,
so they should beat the Panthers just with the defense. Panthers. I like McGee. I don't want to totally just poop on the Panthers.
This is your division there, Andrew. Who are you feeling? Is it going to pain you to take that?
This is those head versus heart situations. Yeah. On my heart, Panthers all day. And I hope Bryce Young figures it out. Bryce Young is as accurate as he was at college, and it's a get-right game. And everybody's like, why do we ever doubt him?
Did he win a Heisman, too? Does that go back to your Heisman point earlier?
It's a little heavy to carry in the NFL, yeah. And, I mean, he relied a lot on some timing routes. So I'm surprised his accuracy didn't translate as well as it I mean, I took a flyer. I think it was my last pick in the fantasy draft. I'm not good at football thing. I was thinking maybe Bryce Young's accuracy could translate it. It hasn't yet. No. And, my heart, if they ever want the Broncos to win, and the Panthers beating the Raiders, they might as well beat some other AFC West teams. But in my head says you got to go with Broncos. That spread is not on accident. Like that Broncos team it's got some parts that show up, and that defense is pretty solid. If their defense had more injuries, maybe a little better chance for Bryce Young. And without his receiving core, I don't know. And Deontay Johnson, that one immediately struck me as a Devontae Adams hammy situation. He's been out for a few weeks.
Me too.
The rumors are heating up. You're like, well, yeah. No one wants to trade away an injured player, and no one's going to be fighting for extra yards if they know next week they're going to be in a totally different city. I got to go Broncos on this one.
Yeah, huge spread.
Patrick Surtain, nicknamed PS2, one of the best nicknames in football.
Oh, that's who it is. I keep seeing PS2. I wasn't sure who he is.
Yeah, Patrick Surtain. Because he's the second. He's a
good corner. I still got the stats. He's super good down, so I'm not going to start a receiver going against him.
Their defense is legit. Yeah. They should trade Von Miller. They should get him back from the Bills.
How about you, Mac? How are you feeling? What's this one?
For the upset of the year.
No way.
I'm going
Let's
Panthers.
Go.
Yeah.
You're crazy.
Right there with you.
Yeah, I know. I'm there. I don't know. Something Maybe
Yeah.
I'm hoping it woke Bryce Young up to get benched. He's still talented. They're missing a lot. Sure, this is gonna be a weird game, and I think weird stuff's gonna happen, and Panthers are gonna scrape by and pull this out like 25-22 or something. Just a strange
I think
game.
it'd be a lot tighter than the spread for sure. I think you're right.
Do you start
yeah.
Xavier Legette in fantasy, Mac? Asking for a friend.
I don't. He's actually still available in my league. But I wouldn't pick up any Panthers players on fantasy. But it's gonna be a weird one. I think. I could also see the Panthers getting blown out, but I'm gonna take them.
I like it. Good call, man. I like it. I'm rooting for you.
If you remember the first 3 weeks, the biggest underdog won outright, and I think there's a couple teams that are 11-point spread. This one, I forgot the other one, but so that could be an interesting trend. But I don't know. I don't know who's. I mean, if Jonathan Brooks is back, I'm excited for him to come back because he's been sitting on the bench for so long.
Because he's not back yet, right?
No,
I didn't think so.
Patriots beating the Bengals the biggest upset of the in the betting world. Was that the biggest upset so far this season?
No, I don't remember who it was.
Okay, fair enough.
It was I don't know.
I'm putting you on the spot a little bit. I was just curious.
The first 3, it was I forgot how much the Niners also lost to someone that were the favorite.
Sure.
They're the biggest.
Niners should beat Dallas. We haven't gotten there yet, but
we're almost there.
That's a wild NFC.
We got one more afternoon game before the Sunday night game.
Yep.
Don't worry. Whoops. Getting all messed up here. All right, so we got Kansas
Here
City
we go.
going to the Vegas Raiders. Last team, like I said earlier, to beat Kansas City is the Raiders.
Yep.
Andrew, it's your team. You gonna stick with the Raiders? What are you feeling for this matchup?
This one is not a head versus heart situation. This is head and heart, and my ass is on the line. Let's go Raiders hardcore. We already know who's showing up. I don't know who shows up week to week. I bleed silver and black, but I have no idea what team shows up any given week. You may say any given Sunday, but every year Raiders fans already know. If you're confident, I don't know where you're getting it. If you're not confident, sure. I watch the team too. They get beat down by the Panthers. They whoop the Ravens. They control the game. I don't know who's showing up, but I think if there's any team to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, it's got to be the Raiders. So I'm taking the Raiders. Minshew gives them an X factor. If Aiden O'Connell was starting, I think the Raiders have less of a chance. And that's what I'll say. That seems to be an X factor. Off-script plays, moving around in the pocket, leaving the pocket entirely. That's not Aiden O'Connell's game. So Minshew gives them a different kind of edge in this one. Brock Bowers showing up, maybe Trey Tucker, DJ Turner. I'll start naming some more players on the depth chart there, but it's I'm pulling Raiders here. The Chiefs need to lose at some point.
I guess I forgot AOC's out. How long is he out for?
He broke his thumb. I think it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks. Yeah. And he still threw a pass after he broke his thumb too, so it was pretty accurate too. I was like, oh, maybe it's not so bad. But he's holding his hand like he broke it. I was like, oh, that's not good.
He hit it off a helmet, I think. Which
it was like
I should have been wearing a Guardian cap.
All right, Mac, who are you feeling for this matchup?
I love Andrew's take, and I'm going to side with him.
What?
I think.
Oh, there goes my lone wolf from the week.
No, so I'll give you reasons why. Okay, so Andrew said Chiefs they got to lose at some point. I think Max Crosby gets in that backfield multiple times. Disrupts Mahomes a little bit. DeAndre Hopkins, they're going to be trying to figure things out. It's a perfect week for them. That SamMeeBee talked about trap games earlier. Again, maybe feeling a little complacent. Oh, this is the Raiders. We can kind of just throw it around. Similar to last year's loss to the Raiders. I felt like they did the same. Minshew scrappy. I think they find a way. So I love this game, and I like this matchup. Max Crosby gets that. He hates Mahomes. You hear all the sound bites of them just getting into it. He's going to be pushing him after the ball's released. He's going to be hit him in the face mask.
Patrick deserves it after that sideline move that was crazy.
This team's insane. You were talking about refs. I
yeah.
Even know. If the NFL's rigged, it's pretty clear on some of these teams.
You Niners got jobbed a little bit last week. I'm a Rams fan, but you guys got jobbed.
That was a rough one
for the Niners this week. Man,
it is closer than they made it seem.
100%.
All right, and and Danny said I was looking it up. The biggest spread underdog to win so far was the Raiders when they beat the
Ravens
9.5. So yeah, you know what?
Pick it.
I don't know. You maybe look it up just in time. Are you trying to set me up? Who are you taking for this matchup?
I'm going to go the Chiefs. I'm not that bold. I will say I said last week, and I don't think this is, but I said last week Max Crosby's one of the best defensive players in the league. Doesn't really mean much coming from me. I was watching Sean McVay press conferences this week, and he's like, he's one of one. He's one of those guys. So I like your take, Mac, as far as Max gets in the backfield, disrupts the game. Certainly, I can see the Raiders winning. The Chiefs' offense hasn't been that good. Maybe it's really different with. I guess I want to check myself. I don't want to say it hasn't been that good. It's been doing what it needs to do, but it hasn't been like blowing people out that I'm aware of. The Xavier Worthy splash plays are awesome, but seemingly not fluky, but not consistent. But maybe with D-Hop, they really open something and unlock something. But regardless, I think the Chiefs have the best defense in the league. Even if Aaron Donald was still playing, I think Chris Jones, Max Crosby's great. I think Chris Jones might be the actual best player defensively. Although there's TJ Watt. It's so tough. They're all really good. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs here. That defense is incredible, long story short. And their spec teams. Harrison Buckner, might not like him as a person, but wow, what a really good kicker. And when I say might not like him, just some people might not. He did have some comments earlier in the year, but that's okay. It's a really good kicker.
Not a Daniel Carlson believer? All right, I see.
Not in this game.
Not in this game.
But you guys have one of the top kickers in the league, which is almost like it's kind of insulting when your team's not doing well because it's like, wow, your best best player is a kicker, but like Daniel Carlson is real good. Maybe you guys should get a 3rd-round pick for him or something. I don't know.
No, you got to have a good punter and kicker.
I don't think the Raiders are as bad as the Devontae Adams thing is crazy. I don't mean to get into a tirade about it, but just there's so many weird things that have happened with the Raiders, and the Devontae Adams thing does not help. Bizarre.
So I'll go last on this one here. Last year I did take Vegas to beat Kansas City on Christmas Day. You know, I know it's a good matchup. They do it, but honestly, I was looking at the schedule. I almost think the Chiefs are undefeated the rest of the year. So I am taking the Chiefs.
I know.
They need to lose this game.
I was looking at it.
Yeah,
I'm not saying they are, but I mean they play Buffalo later on. But I think they probably beat Buffalo. But you know, last week when the Rams and Raiders played, I mentioned how the Raiders lead the league in turnovers, averaging 2 a game, and they had 3 turnovers against the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
What I see happening in this game is a lot of turnovers. I see short touchdowns by the Chiefs. Like I'm taking their team total over. I think it was 27.5. I think the Chiefs are going to score a lot in this game. I think just mainly turnovers. That's my bet today.
Heard. So 2-2. I like it. I like the underdog. Don't get me wrong. I have the Chiefs in like a league that I'm in with SamMeeBee as far as I want the Chiefs to win for points, but I love a good underdog. If the Raiders win, I'm sure we'll be texting about it in the group chat.
Well, we go from Andrew's team to Mac's team, the other California team. Well, I guess Vegas isn't there anymore, but we got Sunday Night Football. Nice heated matchup here. Dallas going to San Francisco. Mac, it's your team. Go ahead. Tell us what you're thinking. What do you got in this one?
Yeah, I tried not to pick the 49ers every single week. You know, I know they're not going to go undefeated, but I've been picking them every week. So there has to be a game where I pick against them, but it's not this week. The 49ers, they've I don't like to say that a team owns another team, but the Cowboys just have whatever it is. I don't know what it is. The Cowboys are still a good team. 49ers have had their hiccups. Ayuk's out for the season. They're going in banged up.
That sucks.
But still, I think just one of those Sunday night matchups. Purdy looks over and like, oh yeah, it's the Cowboys. Let me throw for 300 yards and a few TDs. So. I still like the Niners in this matchup just because it's the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'll go next to this one. You mentioned Debo being out, but I think despite being banged up, when they have Trent Williams, that team just dominates in the run game. Whoever's back there, I mean, still got Kittle. Dallas not very strong this year with their D. They got a weak D. And
they're wounded.
Yeah. And the last team they played, Dallas coming off a bye, but before the bye, they played Detroit. And I laid out the blueprint. You play Detroit, you lose the next game.
Honolulu flu. Is what they're calling it. Yeah.
And then since 2020, Dak is one of the worst road quarterbacks against the spread. This is 6th matchup for Dak against San Francisco. He won the first 2 and lost 3 straight. I'm making it 4 straight. I'm taking Niners here.
Yeah.
What about you, Danny Stone?
Yeah, to Mac's point, Brandon Ayuk's a huge loss. I don't love the Brock Purdy hate coming out of the game last week. The Chiefs are really good. And Brock Purdy doesn't have his star players, and we just saw the Rams. Like, Matthew Stafford's incredible, but how much better is he with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp? Like, it's absurd. So if Brock Purdy had Christian McCaffrey, if he had all his weapons, I just don't love the Brock Purdy hate. I'm a Rams fan. I'm gonna go with the Niners here. I don't have a problem with the Dallas hate. I just think they're, I don't know, all in. Yeah, be all in. I'm not seeing it. I'm going Niners.
What about you, Andrew?
Yeah, the Cowboys are kind of surprising this year. I thought they would do a little bit better. Not much, but a little bit at least.
Sure.
You know, and that their defense wasn't great last year, but they were able to get those turnovers, and those really factor. Like, they have an outsized impact. Like, you can limit them in yards and still lose games, but if you can get turnovers, it seems to have a bigger difference. But this will be a clean sweep. There's no Battle of the Bay anymore. I got to go with Niners again. I went with them last week, and for the same reasons, even if they're beat up, they still able to deliver a good quality running game, and they're well coached, and that team's fun to watch. And like that team that can run the ball consistently, like regardless who's in there, can really help every other position. Like, Brock Purdy's a good player, and he's elevated when they're able to move the ball on the ground, and I think they're really good. They're really beat up though. Like, Kittle's got a foot injury, and I know Ayuk's out, and you start to add up over time. And unfortunately for teams like the Niners, it seems like there's always like a laundry list of guys out there that are getting hurt. Like a Chargers team, you're like, damn, preseason these guys were looking white hot. But I got the Niners beating Dallas in this one, and they're at home too soon.
I do like you guys taking the Raiders last game. I know they're not in California anymore, to your point, but I was thinking Bay Area brothers. You got the Niners fan and the Raiders fan both taking the Raiders. Now you're both taking the Niners. I like it.
Damn.
It's a brotherhood.
Being a primetime game, I'll look a little more into the stats. Who do you think scores first? I mean, Jordan Mason's a favorite. Who do you think scores
I could
first?
see Dak scoring on the first drive, candidly. I could see him hitting CeeDee Lamb. Like, I could see a scripted Mike McCarthy, nice 10 play, whatever. Yeah, I would take CeeDee, but I think the Rams come out. Ricky Purcell, that's a hot one. I like that.
Yeah.
Maybe he unlocks that offense. I just can't take – I say it all the time, any given Sunday. I actually will – this might be the first time I say this. I can't see Dallas winning. And maybe I'm jinxing it because I want Dallas to win as a Rams fan. I just can't. Trayvon Diggs and Micah Parsons are so good, but I think Trayvon Diggs is hurt, and Micah Parsons has looked. I think he wants a contract, which I don't even think he can have yet because he's only.
I think Micah Parsons is hurt too.
Is he hurt too?
Is he playing in this game?
Like that.
I don't believe it.
He's a top. TJ, like, I would put Micah Parsons up there as just what he can do as far as dropping back, rushing. He's so good, but. I don't know, man. Dallas they look terrible. For what they are, they look terrible. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Micah Parsons is out. They have him. His status is out.
Then that's rough. And
that's
the Niners
big. That's
still
big.
have
Yeah.
Nicholas.
Yeah, look at the injury report. Brandon Aubrey didn't practice because of jury duty.
That's right. Yeah, that's crazy too. That's crazy. That's so crazy.
I didn't even know that. And then I don't like that quarterback Diggs. You know why he got all those interceptions? Because he gives up the big plays, so they target him.
Yeah, that's it. That is
jury duty.
I
got jury duty too.
got jury duty too.
That's who's going to win. He's in the civic duty.
Maybe you guys are on the same page.
The guy's got the heart, right? He's here for the civic duty, so yeah. That's your X factor.
What about Matt? Who do you think scores first? Do you think?
So I could see a field goal being the first score in this matchup. Primetime game, and 49ers haven't been terrific in the red zone. They can drive the ball, and then they just freeze up in their side of the field. And I could see them kicking a field goal. And then Aubrey, I mean, it sounds like he's probably going to play. You said he was listed as out, or is he?
He has been practicing. I think he's going to play. The judge, I think Mike Florio wrote the article. The judge is going to work around Brandon Aubrey's schedule for the sake of the trial, I guess.
Okay. I can see Aubrey kicking a field goal to open it up. I feel like whoever gets the ball, whatever team gets the ball first, I could see them kicking that first field goal.
Yeah.
Driving it, stalls out. Aubrey can kick it from 60 plus. So, I mean, I could see. I'm a Niners fan. I don't even know who's kicking for them this week. They've been
No, you do not.
on a kicker carousel sort of. Their starter got hurt. Their backup got hurt. They brought someone in, missed a couple field goals in a PAT. Like I know.
You guys are super wounded too. I don't know if it's Saints level, because they're losing third stringers as well. But you guys are super wounded on the front of your roster for sure. I like that Brandon Aubrey take, Mac. That's a good take for first.
That's a good.
I mean, Jennings. He's
out too, I think.
Juwan Jennings is out. He's actually their leading receiver, believe it or not.
He had that huge game against the Rams.
Yeah,
dude. That was
massive. Yeah.
Yeah. Pearsall. It looks like he last week was his first game, actual game, and it looked like they were intentionally trying to get him the ball just to get him in the game. He even threw to him on the 2-point conversion attempt. Kind of almost like forced it to him in a sense. So yeah, they're trying to get him spun up. Ayuk being out, that's big. And then Debo had like pneumonia, which is just
right, like fluid on his lungs and stuff like that. And I was like,
and so he's listed as questionable. Kittle's listed as questionable.
Debo Samuels might pick for the first touchdown, though. I feel like if they scripted something together, they're going to want to get him the ball and
rushing score.
I trust coaching a lot on that team. The Niners.
I can see Debo. I can see Debo, and I can see it as a rushing attempt.
I see him getting a rushing score too. That's why I asked.
If I remember right, I think.
Without Michael Parsons stealing the edge, like the edge is wide open then without Michael Parsons, and then taking advantage of that is something like coaching level. And I could see someone,
Shanahan.
Coming in like Shanahan's like, come on, like we got to take advantage of this early and beat them up. So they got to play catch up.
I think they destroyed Dallas last year. I know they destroyed them in the regular season game last year, and I think Debo had just a monster game doing stuff like that. Just those touch pass plays, sweeping route. So I can see that happening again, especially if. I mean, it's him and Kittle and Pearsall, and it was like if they could get Mason going, then sure. But it might be those three guys kind of trying to get them the ball.
I feel like Debo's the kind of guy where he excels in those momentum plays. Like you get him the ball like on a screen, and suddenly he's able to take the ball in ways that no one else can. He's got the kind of body build and the kind of athletic ability that just blows people away. He's like a running back meets a wide receiver with kind of like a quarterback's knowledge of the game. You give him the ball in space, you give him the ball in motion, you give him the ball on a touch pass, a pop pass, any number of things. Line up in the backfield. It's fun to watch, and I feel they're really going to use him as like not just a Swiss Army knife, but probably like a variety of tools to take advantage of the Cowboys.
If the Niners can survive to getting, and if they get Christian McCaffrey back, I know it's been rough, Mac. I still think they're a top team. I'm a Rams fan, but I believe in the 49ers. I believe in Kyle Shanahan. I'm not really worried about them the way that I think the outside narrative is. I think they're really, really good and well coached. And if they can get CMC back, because a running back like that, it helps the defense. Like you control the game. It just, they're not dead yet. And even if they lose to Dallas, they're not dead. The Niners just aren't dead yet.
Yeah, the NFC West is all.
Correct. It's open. With the Rams win on Thursday, it's totally open. I think I'm going to take Seattle next week, though. But.
Just want to say this one, I might sprinkle a little bit on Debo to get 2 touchdowns at plus 1,100.
Yeah. He's got he's coming off pneumonia, though, dude. I don't know.
I would check. I would check to see how he's feeling because
it's so hard to breathe
the day of. But I mean, they have the pitch zone. I've loved Mike Shanahan's pitch zone. That was fun play to watch. It's kind of those sticking out in your mind. You're like, that's a unique play. You don't see other teams run it, and it's cool. I think it's really fun, and it puts the ball in the hands of somebody who has to make a decision. And when they make good ones, it's tough to stop.
It'd be a big win for Dallas, I guess, just because we're and all your points are valid. Your points good, Gills. I will say it'd be a big win for Dallas. I don't want to totally crap on them, but they kind of dug their own grave as far as I'm concerned. And Jerry Jones, he's not doing them favors right now with the media appearances. It's been rough.
You would hope that you can handle those and not fumble that. If you're going to mess up the football part and you're not doing well on the field, you got to handle the media a little bit better.
That's a good point. That's actually a really good point.
Have somebody's back besides your own.
Yeah.
Right.
Throwing it. Well, I don't think our scheme's very good. Maybe you should talk to Mike about that and
He's
not.
like, didn't you pick the coach? Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Owner, GM, like, I'm doing it all here. Like, you guys are bad.
Too worried about different sizing when it comes to drafting players, if you know what I mean.
Right.
All right, so we got one more matchup, the Monday night game. It's the NFL. That means the NFC East team has to be on prime time, you know. So,
Yes.
I'll start at this one. I know I picked the Giants a lot, but New York, both the Giants and the Jets, because the Jets, that's who Pittsburgh played last week. They're combined 4-32 playing in night games since 2019. Pittsburgh, this is I'm going Pittsburgh, but this is what I want to read off to you. Since 1992, Pittsburgh is 21-1 on Monday Night Football, and Danny Dimes is 1-15 on all night games.
Oh,
Like, this isn't even close.
Danny, no.
This is not even
Goodness
close.
gracious.
That's his bedtime.
This is probably the one.
Right.
Yeah, this is
Sundowner
great.
effect.
I'm done. Danny, still new take on this one.
I love Brian Burns. The Rams really wanted him a couple years ago. They wanted to give Carolina 2 firsts. Carolina didn't want to do it. But yeah, he went to the Giants. The Giants. We talked about Tyrone Tracy last week. I like him, obviously. I think eventually he will take the starting job. He just seems a little bit younger and more explosive than Devin Singletary. I think, honestly, Dallas maybe should make a trade for somebody like Devin Singletary, like get a running back. But, yeah, I got to go Steelers here. Russell, I want to talk smack and be like, Pickens bailed him out, but, like, Russell had the gall to put those balls in the air, and Pickens came down with it. But, like, I don't think Justin Fields is making those throws. And I like Justin Fields as far as he's fun to watch. But when the ball comes out of his hand, I don't know where it's going. When Russell throws the ball, I'm like, oh, he sees something. So I'm, Steelers, who might win the AFC North. Maybe. They got to beat the Ravens, who look incredible. But that Ravens-Steelers should be fun whenever that I think that's on the back end of the season. They play each other like twice in 4 weeks or something. But, Steelers.
Yeah, this one opened at Steelers -4.5, so it moved 1.5 to 6. Like I said, I'm leaning towards the covering as well.
Unless Russell comes out and it's like Denver year 1, or even with some of those horrific fumbles in year 2, but I can't see it. I can't see Dallas winning, and I can't see the Giants winning. But anything can happen.
What about you, Mac? I'll let you go next on this one.
Give me Steelers as well. I think you guys were saying, and I said this at the beginning of the season with Russell Wilson and Fields. I think Wilson's the right play. I don't. That's not a knock on Fields. I just think Wilson knows how to manage, but also he unlocks the offense and he unlocks Pickens a little bit with those deep balls. He's probably the best deep ball thrower in the NFL. And I remember that back in his Seattle days, always just throwing that ball, just the basket catch against the Niners all the time. And if he doesn't get that, it's always going to be PI, right? It's like,
sure.
I don't know how many PI calls were called against the Niners.
I don't think the refs took him up like they used to, but it's a good take, Mac. I agree with that take.
Yeah. Well, so he's going to get out there and keep throwing that, and Fields doesn't. I don't think he has that throw. And then on the opposite side, Watt's just going to give Danny Dimes all he has. Probably has multiple sack game. And
they better be running on. Yeah, they should just run the ball on third down to keep Danny Dimes. I couldn't agree more. That offensive line apparently is not. They're struggling.
Right. And we talked about it last week when we were talking about the Giants. If your highlight of your team is like, wow, you're probably going to half-ass both quarter or running backs, like Singletary and Tracy are going to compete and both cancel each other out, is what I said. And that's kind of what happened too.
They both had under 10 carries.
Yeah.
Right. Just give somebody 20. Like you can't. Let me ask you this, SamMeeBee, and what are the over/under passing yards for Drew Lock? Because if that's an available bet, that's actually a really interesting, sneaky, fun. Because Danny Dimes got benched last week, and it's coming. I know Brian. The quote that I read was Danny Dimes told the reporters, "Brian Daboll says I'm the starter." It's like, why are you saying that? Like, why is it Brian Daboll? Like,
someone else. Well, or the thing like, I am the starter. Like, I got this. And we're like, well, coach says I might get a chance. And it's your guys' fault. You have to watch that game. It's not on me.
He's an NFL talent. He gets a bad rap, but he's not. I don't want him on my
no. MGM's not going to have anything. I doubt any other sports books would. I did want to highlight combined completions 36.5 last week. If you remember, I had Burrow. Who was it they played?
Burrow and Deshaun. It was Burrow and the Browns.
No, who the Giants play last week?
Oh, the Giants. Sorry. They played
Philadelphia, didn't they?
Thank you. Yeah, Eagles.
It was the Eagles.
Yeah.
Last week, I took under 40.5 completions between Hurts and Jones. They finished with a combined 24. Wasn't even close.
Yeah.
Wow.
It might be different. Do you think? I mean, I wonder combined, do they get 36.5 completions?
Yeah,
you're playing from behind. You're going to be adding a lot of attempts. Yeah, right.
Russell Wilson on Rich Eisen yesterday said George Pickens is a rock star. I'm sorry, but yeah, I take the over. Go ahead, Gills. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's all right. I mean, we were talking about that. My mom's texting me.
You think George Pickens goes for 100 yards? He's over 161.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, what I would say about the Steelers is we were talking about throwing to a spot, like with a guy. But the other way to throw it is to a space, and Wilson knows how to throw it to a space. Like he's able to read what the defense is doing and knows that the space will be there, and that's the key part of those kind of moon balls, dropping them right on the spot. Like that takes some real talent, and when you've got that kind of arm talent, the way to say it's like accuracy, but arm talent is what I say. Fields didn't really seem to have that. It was a different kind of offense. The way they ran that playbook was different.
Agreed.
But it comes down to like coaching. And I like Dable. I like that it was looking kind of good, but Tomlin's able to deliver year after year after year, and for good reason, right? He's putting Wilson in there not on accident. He changes the way they can run that playbook, and it stretches the field in ways that allows more of a running game. So it's complementary, and some of those catches were pretty damn good too, like body control, having an idea when that ball's going to get there. It's not just, hey, just run a 9 route and we'll hit you at some point. It's more like, I know at 13 yards, I need to look for the ball at a certain place or put my body on the outside shoulder and try to body someone out. A la basketball, not just football. So
the quote of the week, maybe quote of the year is Tomlin when they're like, how could you make that decision to start Russell Wilson? He's like, I'm highly compensated. Like it was an incredible.
Yeah, he's like, I'm already paid. He's like, I'm going to get paid regardless. He says stuff like Cheshire cat grin. He's like, well, we're just going to go out there. It was like, he's like, I already did it. And you're like, well, how did you come up to that conclusion? Well, he's like, well, now it works. So obviously I'm a genius. So that's why it worked. Yeah.
But you're right, though. It was a gutsy call. I mean, I questioned it, I think, last week. I thought that was silly, but Russell, he proved me wrong. And are we all picking we all pick the Steelers?
I think it's a clean sweep. I went with Steelers too. Yeah.
This might be an interesting week. We got a lot of ones we agree on, which is interesting.
Yeah, I'll recap that. Last question on this game, because looks like Malik has higher prop. Who do you think gets more receiving yards, Pickens or Neighbors?
I just said Pickens goes for over 100.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Pickens.
Pickens will have
They're just going to
opportunity.
bracket Neighbors.
Yeah.
I like
Neighbors may get peppered if they're down or something like that, but I don't know if it's a little early to be putting that much on a receiver's shoulders. Like, hey, get out there and catch us up. But
take care of him. He got concussed a couple weeks. And I'm just like, why are you're killing this young kid? Like
a Harrison Jr. Everybody's like, where are you at? Like, you should be blowing it up as a rookie. Like, come on, give him a chance.
No, I agree 100%. That's a good point too. Take care of Harrison. Take care of Nick, especially in years respectfully. And this is disrespectful, but Arizona and New York, they're not winning the Super Bowl. Like they're not. Like, take care of your guys, build for next year. Then again, though, who knows? I guess when you're.
Yes, when you say take care of guys, I immediately think of a lot of people don't think about, but it's quarterbacks that do a lot of the heavy lifting when you protect your guys. And a veteran like Wilson knows if I'm putting this moon ball out there, he's going to have to slow down and use his body pressure. I don't see Danny Dimes protecting Neighbors like that. He may throw him a hospital ball and it's over. And
Danny Dimes is fighting for his job.
I gotta get out of here. I'm fighting for my life out here.
They're like, we drafted Neighbors for the next guy, and Danny's like, no, he's mine. You drafted him.
Like, Nate doesn't mean. You're like, I think Coach said I'm the starter.
They look terrible. New York Giants probably are better than the New York Jets, but that is a rough scene in New York as far as football is concerned.
Well, this was a good week. Actually, all 32 teams are playing, so no one on the bye this week. First time doing a 4-person stream, so this is pretty fun. It was a little longer, but hey, we like it because I like looking at the betting numbers, so I extended some of the talks. But looking at the splits, there's only 2 games we split 2 and 2 on, which was Philly, Cincinnati, and surprisingly, Vegas, Kansas City. There we go.
I was surprised too.
Go Vegas!
Andrew does not have any lone wolf picks. He probably thought that was going to be Vegas, but you and
I did.
Matt got one lone wolf pick, taking Carolina. It'd be funny to see that one.
Good for you.
Dan,
I'll cross my fingers for you. Yeah.
Dan also
I
has
like to
one
be wrong
lone wolf
sometimes.
pick. Dan's lone wolf pick is taking Chicago.
Oh
against,
yeah, that's an
Washington.
easy one. Easy.
And I'm going crazy with 3 lone wolf picks.
He did.
I got New England beating the Jets. I got Tampa beating Atlanta, and Jacksonville upsetting Green Bay at home.
I like I'm rooting for all those picks, even though, the Packers help me I get points for a win, but whatever, go Jacksonville. Forget the Packers.
Yeah. So in closing, like I said, we've been doing pretty good. I don't want to go too heavy favorites. That's why I took a few upsets. If I did give out a few leans on bets, if you do listen and bet responsibly. Danny Stone, any remarks from you?
No, thanks for having me. It's fun. This video, I don't think will go on Turf Show times, but next week, hopefully we can do something. But even if not, this is fun to do. I appreciate you guys. I started late. Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun. Mac, Gillies, SamMeeBee, this is a lot of fun.
I know you were doing your makeup. You look good. Don't worry. You're doing by you.
This is a lot of fun. You guys are really cool. It's very fun. Can tell everybody likes football. We can always have our fandoms, but head, gut, ass, got to put something on the line. Nobody rides for free, and the NFL's crazy. They build a lot of parity into the league, and so these types of picks, you may be like, "Oh, this team's garbage." They show up that week, and you're like, "All right, I'm totally wrong about football." And other weeks, you're like, "I'm a genius. I got it all figured out." So I'm excited. I don't know who's going to show up, but I know we'll show up, and I think it's going to be really fun. It's fun doing it again.
Yeah, and we're looking at Saturday mornings to record. We cover 4 different time zones, so thank you. You're living in the West Coast in California, so thanks for being up early with us. And then kick over to Mac to close us out. Any remarks from you?
Yeah, this is super fun. I'm glad that we got all 4 of us on here talking about football. One thing I do want to leave with just kind of a hot take, a homer hot take for the 49ers fans. 49ers are looking supposedly to make a interesting trade. They're banged up, they need something. Do they go defense, offense? I think they're going wide receiver, right? And I have my personal thoughts on who they're going to target, but maybe think about that and see what after this week, depending on the results, and see who.
Who are they targeting? Are you going to tease us? You're not going to tell us?
No, I'll say what I'm thinking. They're not, obviously there's no top-notch receivers really on the market, but I could see the Giants being in sell mode, the Jaguars too, with Kirk and Slayton. It was what I've seen. I think I think Slayton goes because Giants are going to blow up. Danny Dimes, they're going to finally decide. There's writing on the wall. They're going to start selling. They get Dobbs from San Francisco. Dobbs comes in, takes over for Danny Dimes.
Oh.
Slayton goes to 49ers. Dobbs and Neighbors kind of connect. Get some just for his his first year, but. That's a wild take, I know, but
I like it.
I thought you might go for the Deontay Johnson magical cure. He shows up.
Too.
He's like, "Man, I'm feeling great now." Like I know it's been hit or miss.
I saw that one too. Yeah.
I thought the Rams would have lost the Vikings. Cooper Kupp would have went there. Because what annoys me the most about the Kupp trade talks is the Rams are going to take on some of the salary. They're dead last in salary cap space, and I think the Niners had the most salary cap space.
Yeah, they do.
I wouldn't be surprised if they go for a bigger receiver. I don't know if Tennessee's
in division trades aren't likely, but you're not out. For what it's worth, SamMeeBee, I did a links article this morning. I wrote it yesterday, put it together, and there are some ESPN guys said Niners might trade for Kupp. This was before the Rams beat the Vikings, but you're not. Believe it or not, for any of our listeners, people were saying that, which is kind of. Yeah, it sounds crazy to me, but you're not alone in saying that, I guess.
We mentioned it last week. If you're a sports writer, you kind of got to light the fuse sometimes, get a spark out there and be like, hey, people are saying, I don't know who's saying it, not me, but I heard. You're like, oh, okay, all right.
I love Sean McVay being, there's no truth to, it's like, there's probably some truth to it, a little bit, Sean. I get what there's a little truth to it.
You're going to get whiplash if you try to read the tea leaves on some of the coach speak out there. Yeah, you're like, oh, this player's got some cryptic tweet, and you're like, oh, the coach liked that one, and they're saying I'll never trade them. Next week they're gone.
Well, and it drives the market up too. Like there's interest in the Rams, like we talked about last week. Market there. Oh, the Steelers uniform. That's great. Well, I think Kupp's a Ram after that. The Rams are. My editor
After
even
that
wrote an
game,
article, like,
yeah.
they're starting Puka Nacua. They're not giving up on this season. If they were giving up on the season, they'd be like, Puka, rest your knee. Like, they put him out there and they whatever. The Rams look very exciting, which, you know, I'm a Rams fan, but I still think the Niners are going to be there. The Tampa Bay Falcons game, that's a big NFC game, I guess, just since I'm thinking of the NFC. That's a big one.
All right. Sorry to take the last word from you, Max.
Please.
You're right about the trade talk, so I'll take it back to you. Just because I want you to close us. If anything else you want to say, we got distracted by the trade talks. Nothing. Okay. I didn't mean to say your last word. You talk about the
that was to me. My bad. No. I just wanted to throw that out there after this week to see. There's gonna be some interesting trades. I think a couple weeks until the trade deadline. So
it's a spicy take.
I don't know. I like that last word. Just a confident, quiet nod. Just like, hey, all right.
I felt bad. I was like, Max gets the last word, and then we all chimed in. I was like, whoops. Okay, yeah, back to the real last word. So. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll look forward to seeing you guys next Saturday. Peace out.